Hello, all you lower deckers out there, and welcome to Undeclared Bajor Special Edition.
Woo.
My name is Fletcher, about to say hi is Data.
Greetings.
On today's very special episode, we're going to discuss I don't think it makes any sense to review.
No.
Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 3, Episode 6, Hear All, Trust Nothing. Alternate title, The Karemma Problemo.
No, yeah, okay.
You know.
I like it.
So I guess we have to address our two audiences today. Or two audiences. Our regular Deep Space Nine podcast audience, and then the people that are hyped for the new Lower Decks season that we suckered into listening to our Lower Decks episode.
Yep. Which
was our evil plan. A quick note on spoilers. So this podcast is up through Deep Space Nine Season 4, Episode 10, but this episode of Lower Decks takes place after the Deep Space Nine finale.
Right.
So maybe if you've been following along with us and are really worried about Deep Space Nine spoilers, just don't watch this episode.
Yeah, leave this one till way later.
I don't know.
Remember to come back and watch it. Don't not watch.
Right.
But way later.
Yeah. Tell your friends who might want to watch it. But as usual, we will try to keep spoilers to an appropriate minimum. I'm just not quite sure what that means in this situation.
Yeah, I don't know that there's an appropriate minimum as far as Deep Space Nine spoilers go when we're talking about something after the end of Deep Space Nine.
Yep.
That deals intimately with like some of the fallout from the end of Deep Space Nine.
Hear All, Trust Nothing, originally streamed September 28th, 2022. It was written by Grace Parajani and directed by Phil with an F, Mark Sagadraka.
I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but
man, I now long for the days of Vinrich Kolbe.
Both of these people have not huge lists of credits on IMDb. Let's see. So Grace Para, or sometimes credited Grace Parajani as here, is an actress and also a writer.
Okay.
So she's like done, a few episodes of some shows, like 4 episodes of Broken, 3 episodes of White Guy Talk Show, 1 episode of BoJack Horseman.
Ooh.
Where she plays a character called Tamara.
I do not recall that character.
And she wrote and starred in a thing called, 4 episodes of, I assume she must have been, anyway, this thing's called Frida Kahlo, Junior Marketing Exec. And she plays Frida Kahlo. So I assume that's the starring role in this show. But
huh. Okay.
Yeah. So those are the highlights of her history here. And then she has this 1 episode of Lower Decks that she wrote. So
okay.
There's that. And then Phil Mark Sagadraka is he hasn't directed much. He directed an episode of Rick and Morty and 3 episodes of Lower Decks, but he is much more prevalent as an animation / art department guy.
Sure.
So he's done storyboard art for like Rick and Morty, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Simpsons movie, DuckTales, just a bunch of like animated stuff he's done. Storyboard art, and he's also a character layout artist / lead character layout artist / animatic layout artist on The Simpsons.
Ooh, nice. So he's out there in that animation world.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, should we explain any more what we're doing here?
Yeah, so we've gotten at least one suggestion in our YouTube comments before that we should do Lower Decks, and I was like, yeah, I've totally told Fletcher that we should do Lower Decks. So then, with the new season of Lower Decks coming out, I was like, well, there's this 1 episode of Lower Decks that's about Deep Space Nine that fits with the podcast, so let's give it a try. Like, let's try it out, do this 1 episode that would fit in with Undeclared Bajor and the sort of thing that we've got going, and see what happens. See if people enjoy it.
Sure. So
And completely coincidentally, the new season is going to start
Right.
the week that this comes out. Like, that's not intentional at all.
I was thinking really hard. We decided to come out after the new season starts, because that's when everybody's going to be searching for podcasts, right?
Yeah.
And maybe they'll accidentally come across ours. But maybe I was like, maybe we should air before the new season comes out, because the people they're getting all hyped ahead of time, and then they'll be searching. But
Well, I mean, I think my suggestion was before, because there's people hyped ahead of time, but also you still get the people searching afterward. You don't not get those if you go a little earlier.
Good point. Well, that's not what we're doing. So this is filmed well in advance.
Yep.
Neither us nor anybody in the world has seen the new season of Lower Decks. You will get no new information or hot takes about the new season of Lower Decks from this
unless
podcast.
we make them up from scratch.
Right. Which we may well do. Who knows?
I loved how they killed all the main characters in the first episode. It was a really bold move.
I love a show that's willing to take risks. Anyway, recapping this episode. The USS Cerritos heads to a rendezvous with the USS Vancouver to support the reopening of trade with the Karemma. Remember those guys?
Yeah, it's funny because I didn't realize this, but according to this, the last time we saw the Karemma or the Karemma ships was Starship Down, that episode that we did not long ago. So they just don't show up again.
And that episode is not doing amazing numbers. So go watch that. It has a total of 10 views. So as of this recording,
it has the Karemma and James Cromwell or whatever. So.
I should have just put a picture of the Karemma guy on the thumbnail. That was my problem.
Yeah, see, there you go.
I'm overthinking these thumbnails a little bit. But apparently trade with the Karemma was disrupted by something, and now they're resuming it.
Yeah, who knows what.
Yeah. As gifts for the Karemma, the crew prepares crates of Vulcan Port, Aldebaran Whiskey, Ryzen Cabernet, Romulan Ale, and Gallardonian Milk.
Yep.
But no Saurian brandy.
They've got a list of those in here, and it mentions what the first episode of whatever Star Trek was that these were first mentioned. Vulcan Port first comes up in the Maquis Part 1 episode of Deep Space Nine.
Huh.
Aldebaran Whiskey in TNG Relics. Romulan Ale, Wrath of Khan. And Gallardonian Milk is from a Lower Decks episode.
So is Ryzen Cabernet not a real thing?
It doesn't mention it in here, so I don't know, actually.
It doesn't sound like a real thing. I guess they just forgot about Saurian brandy.
Yeah.
And then also I noticed that there were 2 stacks of crates that had those things in the exact same configuration. I was like, come on, animators, quit being lazy.
It's just, they just copy paste. It's fine.
This modern computer animation, it's making things too easy for people. But they soon receive word that the Vancouver has been diverted to a rescue mission. There's a brown hole situation, so...
The captain's like, that's not even a thing!
It sounds like a thing.
Yeah?
It sounds like an NC-17 rated thing.
That was not my first thought, but okay. I'll go with it.
But the captain of the Cerritos will be in charge of negotiations with the Karemma. So they arrive at the rendezvous point. Deep Space Nine!
Oh my gosh.
What? I can't believe that's in this episode.
Who knew?
The captain heads off to a ready room to prepare for negotiations and has the crew stall by flying the ship slowly around the station in a parody of the Star Trek Deep Space Nine opening credits.
And I don't know if you noticed the difference, but they use the early seasons music and not the later seasons
without
music.
The dun in the
And so I have the Blu-rays of this season of Lower Decks, and this episode has an audio commentary with the creator of Lower Decks, the 4 main actors, and Armin Shimmerman and Nana Visitor. So I've got some notes from that in for the episode as well. And at this point, like the girl who plays Mariner, Tawny Newsome, she's a big Star Trek fan, and Deep Space Nine in particular, she's a huge fan of. So she's kind of like geeking out at points here, and she's like, so asking like the creator guy, it's like, what made you decide to go with like the earlier, like instead of the later, like more intense version of the song? And he has this thing where he's like, well, that question totally occurred to me, and I'm not completely making this up right now off the top of my head, but I don't think that we've earned that later season like jam session yet. Like, you got to get there.
Huh. Yeah, right. Were Grace Para Janney and Phil Mark Sagadraka not invited to the commentary?
There was one other person in the commentary who was like a behind the scenes person, and it might have been it wasn't her. It might have been that guy. I don't remember who it was because he says almost nothing. So I don't recall. Also, I don't know if you noticed in the background of with Admiral Buenamigo, when he called to let her know, he's got like the Alamo model in the background of his shot.
Yes, I did notice there was an Alamo. So down on the lower decks, some characters who I call Orion Girl, Borg Guy, and Purple Hair Guy look forward to their visit of DS9 and their many upcoming side plots.
In case you guys were unaware from that description, Fletcher, not a big watcher of this show before this, seeing this episode.
Other girl, whom I'll call Rolled Up Sleeves Girl, makes fun of them for being such tourists, but tries to change her tune when her Andorian girlfriend named Jennifer, so I guess that's an Andorian name.
Hey, why not?
Invites her to a salon with her friends. Man, I love me a good salon.
Well, and like the comment on that is like, I'm already like upset that like they call their parties or whatever salons. Who are they? Hemingway?
Up in the commander's office, for some reason, who knows, Colonel Kira watches the Karemma ship come in through the wormhole and is quickly joined by the senior officers of the Cerritos. She recognizes the head of security as a former comrade from the Bajoran resistance, and they get into a who has saved whom more times fight, and who still owes whom one.
Which will carry throughout the episode as a recurring gag.
I'm not even marking that as its own plot.
There's so many plots in this episode. It's kind of crazy. But I know, I feel like they all kind of work. But the Kira model, they talked on the commentary about like the creator guy and Tawny, who plays Rolled Up Sleeves Girl. We're gonna go with that with this nomenclature now. Like they were like, yeah, the two of us had this discussion about like what hairstyle Kira should have, and it went back and forth for a while. And so this one is like Tawny approved, and then she's like, is it you approved, Nana? And Nana Visitor's like, oh yeah, no, I love it. And also I appreciate that you put me in like my original boots and not like those heels that they gave me later.
Oh, so now she doesn't like the boots. Or the heels.
Yeah.
Interesting. I do enjoy those original boots. They I remember back in those early seasons, they would sometimes give us weird close-ups of those boots. Like you would just put them up on the desk, and then they'd be like, get a good shot of those boots. Costume people put a lot of work on them. The Karemma arrive at the station and discuss their skepticism of these dirty alphas. And then one of them has a blinky thing strapped to his chest.
Yeah, no, Odo's not here to be a good security chief and make sure people don't get weapons on the station or whatever.
Where'd Odo go?
But, yeah, they also mentioned, it's like, because we haven't seen the Karemma much, and it was like, the guy's like, yeah, so James Cromwell played like the first Karemma basically, and so now the entire race kind of like looks like James Cromwell.
Not really, but
yeah, well, that's just what they said, and I'm like, okay, I'll go with it.
Yeah, why not? Business is booming at Quark's, which now has a gift shop, and we soon learn has spread to 21 franchises with the help of Quark's patented Quark 2000 replicator.
So you wouldn't have seen it because you didn't watch season 1 of that show. But the idea that Quark's franchised is introduced in an episode of Picard, season 1. And so this episode of, well, and a couple franchise show up in earlier seasons of Lower Decks, but like, so Lower Decks took that concept and just ran with it.
I was thinking he took the Guinan route and just became like a totally cashing in on his reputation selling merch.
Oh yeah, I completely believe that he like created a gift shop within the bar to capitalize on that. And they talk on the audio commentary about like how loyal they were to like, and they try to get everything in the bar just right to look just right. And Armin Shimmerman's like, oh my gosh, you guys, the bottles behind the bar, everything looks perfect. And the guy's like, yeah, like the one major change we made is that we took this area that used to have tables and put a gift shop there because we figured Quark would do that.
Sure. Also, now the dartboard is outside the shop, or outside the bar for some reason.
Well, in case Quark has to leave and locks it up again, you know, they want to be able to get to their dartboard. Although...
Apparently this dartboard is really famous now, also.
Right.
Apparently there's several things about Deep Space Nine that are weirdly famous. So Quark tries to pitch a Quarks for Starfleet Academy, or at least a Quarks Express.
I do love that. The Quarks Express is like, oh, we gave one to the Bolians. They love it.
It's like, one of those Kintako huts, but it's like a Quarks and Guinans.
Ooh, I'd go there.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It's just like split right down the middle, Quarks on one side, like tin forward on the other. Morin sits at his usual spot.
Yep. And that's that picture that you referenced with, like, Morin's article on the Wikipedia is now that picture.
Mm-hmm. So Orion girl, purple hair guy, and Borg guy show up at Quarks and take seats next to Morin. Purple hair guy is excited for Dabo. They catch the eye of an Orion Starfleet guy who comes over and starts talking up the Orion lifestyle, showing off his little Orion pirate gizmo that he got a religious exemption for, apparently.
Yeah, you know, as you do.
Right. Yeah, why not?
It's like the Bajoran earrings.
Sure.
Just that this like can help you hijack starships.
Yeah, and I kind of doubt that the Orion religion actually requires this, but...
Yeah, right.
He offers him a tour of the station, but Orion girl clearly isn't into it. So, we have the Karemma negotiation plot, purple hair guy playing Dabo plot, Orion guy plot.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we're up to the D plot, where Rolled Up Sleeves girl meets her girlfriend's friends. Yes, that makes sense. These friends are kind of annoying. They have a Betazoid casual philosophy.
Yeah, all of their salons are Betazoid casual. Nobody told Rolled Up Sleeves girl.
Which I guess means sweats. I mean, I don't think we ever saw Counselor Troy dressed like that. Maybe she just wasn't dressing casual ever.
Yeah, she's not a casual person. It's fine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Although she never wore her Starfleet uniform for half of the season,
Right.
So maybe she was.
Until Captain Jellicoe called her out on it.
Yep.
And they're making intention candles or something. So, oh boy. I would just immediately walked out, but, you know.
Hey, she can't make a bad impression on her girlfriend's friends.
I guess not. In the wardroom, the Karemma are upset at the switch-up of negotiators, but calm down at the mention of gifts. Kira and the other Bajoran guy continue their argument. They're like, oh wait, gifts? Well, that changes things.
No one turns down free stuff.
Absolutely.
So it notes on the wiki, it's like, unlike other people who've showed up in, other series after their own series ended or whatever, Kira appears to still be the same rank, still be the same position. Like, not much has changed for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just been a few years, right? So
I think this is 6 years after the end of the series. So this also, it says, puts her among the people who have now like played themselves in, or no, this puts Quark, I guess, actually Armin Shimmerman, among the people who've played themselves in like 4 different Star Trek series, or played the same character, not themselves, obviously, because Quark was in 1 episode of Voyager and 1 episode of The Next Generation.
Oh yeah,
and then obviously Deep Space Nine. He also apparently had a cameo that was ultimately cut from Star Trek Insurrection.
Huh. So he was the first person to do that? To play the same character in 4 different shows?
He joins the rank of actors who have portrayed the same character in 4 different series. It doesn't say what other actors that would be. I mean, Worf, I wait. This one, that one, Picard. That's 3. I don't think he's shown up in a 4th.
I guess he wasn't in Voyager.
O'Brien could have showed up in that first episode of Voyager. I don't know. It's been a long time since I saw that.
I mean, anybody from Deep Space Nine is kind of...
they're at that like crossroads of 3 different shows.
Back on the promenade, Borg guy goes to dangle his legs off the walkway, like in the Hollow movies or something.
Yeah, like in the Holovids.
I don't know what he's referring to, but... And Orion Girl gets increasingly fed up with the Orion guy's obsession with the Orion pirating lifestyle. So she's like, oh my gosh, this pirate guy.
Yeah, it's like, do you have any other personality, like, guy?
Purple Hair is having a successful run at Dabo, much to the annoyance of a Ferengi dude who calls him human, not human. Which is, come on. I'm sure Armin Sherman wasn't in the studio because he would have corrected that.
He is very specific about, Ferengi stuff. He said that to voice his role as Quark, he insisted on like using the teeth that Quark had in the show, so to make sure it sounded right. But then he notes on the commentary that it sounds like in the finished episode like he does not have those teeth in, and he doesn't understand because he knows he did when he recorded it. And the creator guy was like, yeah, you're right. It does kind of like when you say zing, it should have been like a zing sort of thing. And he says, maybe like in the audio mix, whoever was editing it was like tried to quote fix it without realizing that we'd done this on purpose.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Everybody needs to get on the same page here.
Also, funny story is that they're like, hey, were those the original teeth from the show? And he was like, partly yes, but mostly no. Because like 1 month before the show's run ended, the teeth like vanished from his dressing room. And he was like, I always put them in the exact same place. I know I didn't misplace them. Somebody stole those teeth from my dressing room. And so for the last month of the show's run, he had like another set of teeth that like the guy that the wardrobe or whoever guy like made up quickly as a replacement. So it was those teeth from that last month that he was using when he recorded. And they were like, oh my gosh, did anyone ever find out like what happened to those teeth? And he was like, I think it was Rene Auberjonois who took them. Well, that's his claim, but Rene was already passed by the time this was recorded, so can't prove it.
So Orion Girl and Borg guy get to work moving the crates of alien booze, with Orion Girl happy to be free of Orion Guy. But it turns out that Orion Guy got himself reassigned to hang out with them all day. So. Yeah,
Mesk is extremely annoying. He starts singing that classic Orion pirate shanty.
Yeah, I'm sure that the Orions have pirate shanties just like the Pirates of the Caribbean. Also, his name is Mesk, which is like slang for mescaline, which is the drug that's in peyote.
I was not aware of that.
Maybe it's spelled different. I don't know. I was like, did he say Mesk?
Also, I have to mention while we're on the subject that Orion Girl, Devon Attendee, is my favorite character on the show. I love her. So
okay.
Random, put that out there.
Okay, so she gets that trophy. So back on the ship, Rolled Up Sleeves Girl continues to have a bad time at the salon, which has devolved into some kind of slam poetry recital. At which point, I'm definitely out.
Yeah, well, when they're like, okay, it's your turn. And she's like, wait, what? No, I was not prepared. And they're like, no, just go for it. And she's like, no, I'd really rather. I feel like you're really disrespecting my salon right now.
No, your intention is to disrespect my salon.
Yeah, right, your intention. Yeah. And there's also the great moment where it's like, don't you think that she really nailed like the theme or whatever for the salon? She's like, what was that? Like, personal battlegrounds, obviously.
I just remember so much crap like this I got dragged to in college.
See, doesn't it really feel real?
Except, see, like, back then I didn't know what slam poetry and stuff was, so I was like, what is this thing? What is going on?
What is the thing that I'm seeing right now? And then what does the girl call her it like cuts away from that scene.
Her Kobayashi Maru dance?
No, yeah, the Kobayashi Maroon. There is no right way to dance it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, these friends. I can't help but feel like this is based on a true story.
Right? It just feels like this is something that happened to someone.
So, see, the Karemma are not impressed by the marketplace on Deep Space Nine.
They're like some tchotchkes, a tailor. Like, this is not commerce.
So they take the Karemma into Quark's to impress them with his success. But Quark is upset at the presence of Karemma and starts arguing with their leader. I don't know what he's so mad about. Some kind of war?
Something happened, yeah, I don't know.
Loading goods onto the Karemma ship, Orion Girl gets fed up with Orion Guy and is constant talking about piracy. And then he accuses her of going human at the Academy. And then Purple Hair Guy continues to win at Dabo.
They pointed out in the commentary at that point that it's like, you notice that like Mesk has a different shade of green that's like a kind of more unpleasant shade of green than Tendi, and that was like intentional. And then the creator guy mentions that in the original series, the Orions were created with the intention that they'd be like a rainbow race, like they'd be all different colors, like different individuals would be different colors, not one guy, a bunch of different colors. But when it came down to it, they could only afford to buy one color of paint, so they went with green.
Nice.
And so yeah, that's how Orions ended up being green. Well, at least according to that guy.
Sure. So Quark and Karemma Guy continue their argument when the Karemma notice the Quark 2000. They become outraged and throw the blinking thing, which is some kind of power outage bomb or something.
Or something, yeah, I don't know. Like, they seem to have thrown it, and it would have hit Kira if Shax hadn't, like, knocked her out of the way. So it's like, were they trying to hit Kira? Like, what was the... it's weird.
It's just always a bonus if you can bonk somebody with the power outage bomb. It's like, add insult to injury. But then they grab Quark and they beam away. However, even with the power out, Purple Hair Guy continues to win at Dabo. There are a lot of scenes of this guy just winning at Dabo.
You know, he's often the primary one of the primary focuses of the episodes, so you can't just, not have him.
Borg Guy and the Orions see Quark getting kidnapped and find themselves trapped on the Karemma ship as it undocks and flies away.
Apparently no one remembered that there were Starfleet officers on board.
They're like, who cares?
Also, this Mesk claims he's here to do security for them. He's not really good at his job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's he going to do? To be fair, but in the situation.
I mean, he's a security officer on Deep Space Nine, and a Deep Space Nine resident is apparently being kidnapped right in front of him, and he just, like, doesn't, like, does he have a phaser? He should be doing something.
Maybe. At the salon, they all find themselves trapped, and immediately begin panicking for air. Rolled Up Sleeves Girl tries blowing out the oxygen-burning candles, but this upsets people.
Our intentions!
Jennifer the Andorian tells her that she shouldn't be so nice, and she was actually looking forward to having her friends knock down a peg. So Rolled Up Sleeves Girl goes on a phaser spree, which I'm not sure I approve of this. But
well, they won't let her put out the candles, and she's like, you use way less oxygen when you're unconscious, so this is how we keep us all alive.
Sure.
I buy it.
Or the thing to do would be to, like, give a rousing speech so they can all work together to pry the door open or something. But I guess just shooting everybody also kind of works. So Borg Guy begs Orion Guy to save them with his Orion pirating skills. But he admits he's from Cincinnati and doesn't know anything about pirating. Except for what he read about in books.
Yeah, all of his Orion knowledge comes from... because he's adopted by humans. All of his Orion knowledge comes from those Hollow novels. And not even the good ones. The ones with boobs on the cover.
Right. Luckily, Orion Girl does know about pirating and grabs his multi-tool, leading an assault on the ship during which she steals a guy's latinum tooth, which she then uses to override the ship controls and back them out of the wormhole just in time.
One of my favorite lines of the episode is like, it's just in the background, he's like, wait, that thing has a tooth extractor? It's like, oh yeah, this does everything.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a very common thing that you need to do when you're taking over a ship, is grab somebody's tooth, stick it in the thing you do.
And then in the, I don't know if this at the engineering room or what, but it's like the one guy just jumps off, possibly to his death, to avoid whatever's going on.
All right, if that's what you feel like you gotta do, dude.
right?
Then Deep Space Nine grabs the ship with a tractor beam and pulls them in. Having finished their phaser stun rampage, Rolled Up Sleeves Girl and Jennifer the Andorian worry about the optics of being the only non-stunned people in the room.
Yeah.
I don't know what they think the optics will look like if they stun themselves, but that's what they do.
It was all to save the oxygen, so they had to stun themselves also, obviously.
Okay. It's like, what are people going to think when they go in that room and just see a bunch of phasered people?
Nobody's going to come in. They'll wake up eventually and it'll be fine.
I mean, seems like you could also just use the phaser to shoot the door open somehow, but...
Maybe. The notes also mentioned this is the first time that we see these two kiss on this show, and it's like it may not be a coincidence that it happens while they're visiting Deep Space Nine, because the first kiss between two women on Star Trek was from that Deep Space Nine episode.
I suspect it was a coincidence.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, it says that. I feel like it probably was.
In the jail, Karemma guy reveals that the Quark 2000 is made out of stolen Karemma technology. And somehow the captain talks him into giving up 76% of Quark's profits in exchange for the Karemma opening up relations. How she got Quark to agree to that, I don't know.
I guess so they don't arrest him and put him in Karemma jail for stealing their stuff.
I don't know. It seems like you can't just like swoop a guy up and drag him into the Gamma Quadrant.
It's an interesting point. Like that's what do you call extraordinary rendition or whatever.
Yeah.
But...
So then at the end, everybody gathers at Quark's. Quark apparently feels that the Rolled Up Sleeves girl owes him some latinum, but all she has is a holosuite program of his head on Kira's body. Quark agrees to clear her tab, then eats the chip before Kira can see it, even though Kira is the person who made that holosuite program. So
yeah, that's the thing. It's like he acts like this would get him in trouble, and it's
right.
like, no, Kira made that. Like that was the revenge on you for what you did.
So I'm not quite sure what he's worried about, but
yeah, they established in an earlier episode that Mariner had served on Deep Space Nine at some point, and so this is the callback to that. Although it's funny because in the original script they didn't have this moment with her there, and the actress being a huge fan of Deep Space Nine got through the script and then like called the show creator guy and was just like, no, you cannot do this. You can't like have us go to Deep Space Nine and me, the biggest Deep Space Nine fan on the show, doesn't get to go on the station. And so basically like insisted that he rewrite this and give her something on the station.
But I mean, she didn't really get to go on the station.
Yeah, it's a cartoon, right?
I'm just still trying to figure out what's going on with this holosuite program. Like, did Quark make another holosuite program? Like his head on Kira's body turned out to be so popular that he had to make another one secretly? Or was he using it for personal use? Or
well, I don't like where any of those possibilities lead.
But Purple Hair Guy is finished at Dabo and gladly trades his winnings for a gift card to the gift shop. Which that sounds like a pretty good deal. Like double credit at the gift shop.
And he's just like, oh yeah, I mean, we don't even use money in Starfleet. And the Ferengi acts like this is a surprise. He's like, what?
Right.
He's like, you know how Starfleet works. Although the scenes that we see in Ops, like the station appears to be run by Bajoran militia. Like there's no Starfleet people in Ops. Clearly Mesk works on the station, so there must be still Starfleet involvement, but it looks like the Bajorans have kind of taken the lead here.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Kira's in charge for some reason. Well, who knows what happened to Captain Sisko?
Oh right, yeah, I don't know.
So maybe she just chooses her own people. Or so Kira thanks the other Bajoran guy for having her back, which I feel like we didn't really see that, but declares that now
he saved her from the throne thing.
From the
the blinky thing.
She just said like, thank you for having my back when the whatever hit the fan. So I was like, what's she talking about? I don't think that thing was going to hurt her too bad, but whatever.
Yeah, we don't know. And he didn't know when he threw her out of the way what it was. So.
True. But she declares that now she owes him one. So I guess that's now settled. Borg Guy is impressed by Orion Girl's pirating skills, and she resolves to embrace her past from now on, starting with that gross tooth, which Quark quickly grabs.
I don't know if you noticed it, but like as the camera is going in on that shot of the two of them, when they start talking about that, like, you see purple hair guy in the foreground walking by with like arms full of Quark merchandise,
right.
Which is a great shot.
I mean, he must have been able to buy out like the whole shop, but I mean, I suspect that the shop is way overpriced, which is
almost certainly
why he got that gift card.
There's a sign that says special, either 10 or 70% off. The one, I'm not sure if that's a 1 or a 7, but and maybe that's intentional. It's like Quark is trying to trick you into thinking it's 70% when it's 10%
right.
off. But I like that one of the pieces of merch he has is like he's wearing Ferengi ears, which I feel like is kind of vaguely racist, honestly. but you know, if Quark's making money off it, I'm sure he's happy with selling them.
They're just like, whatever. Let these humans do whatever they want. And that's the end of the episode. Quark quotes a rule of acquisition: opportunity plus
instinct equals profit,
which is kind of a weird rule of acquisition to bring up at that point, but
I agree that I'm just like, I guess the opportunity was that he saw this latinum that nobody wanted, but I don't know that instinct comes into it necessarily. My instinct was to grab it out of her hand and just be like, yoink, I'll take that.
Yep. I guess Karemma guy didn't want his tooth back.
It spoils of war, you know?
Sure. Okay.
I do like when he asks, like, what are you going to do with that tooth? And she, like, has it in a little cloth, and she's like, I mean, yeah, now that you mention it, it is kind of gross, huh? Like, she hadn't thought about that before. Okay, hold on. Random other notes on the episode that I have.
Okay.
Armin Shimmerman, like, the guy who plays Boimler, purple hair guy, was like, I'm sure you've been asked this 5 million times, but, like, how long did it take you to get into that makeup? And he's like, 5,000,001, here we go. But he says it took him 2 hours a day to get into the makeup. But the question that people don't ask and don't understand really is that it took 1 hour every day to get out of the makeup. So after you've been in it all day and stuff, it takes a while to still get it off. And then show creator guy, who I keep calling that because I don't remember his name, he goes, could you go to the bathroom in it? And Armin Sherman's like, there's a pause where you're just like, you can feel him being like, are you an idiot? And he goes, I don't use my face to go to the bathroom, so yeah, it wasn't really a problem.
Unfortunately, they always insisted on me wearing a crotch prosthetic. I don't understand why. It was a big pain.
In relation to that same conversation, they're like if there was like a live action revival of Deep Space Nine, would you guys come back for it? And then our visitor's like, oh yeah, in a heartbeat, I would be there. And then Armin Sherman's like, I would come back, but not as a regular. Like, I couldn't go through that every day again. I would love to be like a recurring character though. And then he goes, if I could be Rom, that would be perfect. So I don't know. I don't know if he means literally Rom or if he just means show up as often as Rom did.
Right. The same level of recurringness as Rom.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then also part of the makeup bit, he points out that Armin Shimmerman was very happy that they got like the purple penumbra around Quark's eyes, which
sure.
He says originally on like the first day of shooting, the makeup artist put that like purple in there because she said it like brought out the blue of his eyes really well. But she did not, like, no one told her to do that. So then watching the dailies, Michael Westmore got furious about this. Like, well, why'd you put like purple around his eyes? And he hated it. But they'd already done a whole day of filming, so it was too late to do anything about it. And then for the remaining 7 seasons of the show, that purple was there.
Huh. Lots of interesting facts that we get just from Armin Sherman and this one, like, non-Deep Space Nine thing.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, lots of interesting, relevant stuff about Deep Space Nine in this Deep Space Nine adjacent thing that we've watched. They talk about how they felt it was, like, I feel like the story is kind of like a Deep Space Nine, like, it has like a Deep Space Nine rhythm to it. And I'm like, well... there's actually a quote from Cirroc Lofton, who's... the creator guy in the commentary mentions, he's like, I thought about, like, maybe we get Cirroc Lofton in there, but, and you just be like, oh, the whole crew is back. But he was like, I wanted to really focus on, like, the Quark and Kira stuff, so I thought that would just be, like, a distraction from that. But he is quoted in here as being like, I actually felt like I was visiting Deep Space Nine with this episode when it came out. The exterior shots, the music, it sent me, like, right back. And then... that he's quoted in here is like, they actually use like a Deep Space Nine kind of tempo a little bit in this episode.
I don't know. Maybe.
So, yeah. Those are all of my fun facts from the wiki and the commentary for this one. But, so, as a non-Lower Decks fan, what did you think of the episode overall of this experience?
I mean, it was kind of cute. A little Deep Space Nine homage. I would have liked to see more, obviously, but what's you gonna do?
Right, it's half-hour show. Yeah.
All right. I feel like we didn't need to see all that salon stuff. That did not appeal to me as a Deep Space Nine fan. But other than a few weird gaffes, like that Ferengi didn't say human correctly, and Quark forgets that Kira made the holosuite program and stuff like that. Pretty fun, I guess.
It is fun when she jumps over the bar to try to get him. In the commentary, Armin Shimmer's like, I don't think on the show you ever went behind the bar, not once. And so that's a new experience. And then Nana Visitor is just like, also, like, you wouldn't have been able to run away from me. I would have caught you like that.
I like that Armin Sherman is keenly aware of who's been behind the bar and who hasn't.
Yeah, right? Yeah. He's like, that's his territory.
I want to say there must have been at least once when she went behind the bar, but maybe
we got to be on the lookout for that now.
Yeah, I guess.
We got to watch for who goes behind the bar in general. Like,
I'm willing to trust Armin Sherman's knowledge, but
he was there.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we can at least do a title review.
Oh yeah.
Here all trust nothing. Which isn't that that sounds like a rule of acquisition.
I think it probably is. Hold on. Here all trust nothing. Because yeah, I actually did not remember or that didn't occur to me, but now that you say it, I'm like, oh, I think that is. Let's see. Yes, it looks like it is. Let me see which one it is. Rule of Acquisition 190. Here all trust nothing.
Oh, okay. I mean, it doesn't really have anything to do with the episode, but
I guess, you listen to Mesk, but don't trust what he's saying.
I guess.
That's the only thing I can think of.
It feels a little random and unrelated.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to disagree with that. No, I wonder. I've never thought about the titles of these episodes. I want to see if there's like a pattern. I don't think there is. Let's see. Grounded, The Least Dangerous Game, Mining the Mind's Mines, Room for Growth, Reflections, Here All Trust Nothing, A Mathematically Perfect Redemption. Yeah, there's not really. So, yeah, I don't know where... It doesn't mention anything about like why this title was chosen. It doesn't even say in here that it was a rule of acquisition, so...
So, I feel like they could have maybe come up with something a little better than that.
Oh, no, I'm wrong. It does say the title is a reference to the 190th rule of acquisition, which you get in the Deep Space Nine Season 5 finale. So, people following along with Undeclared Bajor, watch out for that.
Spoilers, there will be a rule of acquisition in that episode. Okay, well, I don't even know how to wrap this up. So we're not going to do a next time on.
Nope.
I guess we'll just finish it up there.
Okay, well, I hope everyone enjoyed this. Let us know in the comments if you want to hear more Lower Decks. Maybe you can convince Fletcher to give it some more of a go. Or if you hated it and you don't want anything to do with it, you can be like, I support not ever doing that again. So.
Right. But whatever your opinion, say it many times.
Yeah, algorithm, let's go. Whatever your opinion is, just get it out there.
I don't even know how to sign off. Like, keep the blood wine warm and the prune juice chilled. Keep the Ryzen Chabernet chilled, and the Aldebaran whiskey warm.
Let me hold on. There's got to be a better. Stay away from those tacky Cardassian fascist eyesores.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But no, don't stay away, because that's what Deep Space Nine is.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that one's okay, I guess.